What's going on, everyone? We are back, and I mean back because I was gone for the last 2 months. I have not made a video. Still been streaming on and off, but not much. But now we have the Settlers League coming out next Friday, and I am so hyped and so excited for this. So I figured I would make a video to, one, knock the rust off of making videos to prepare for the league, and two, just kind of share what I think and how excited I am. So they announced that Settlers is going to be kind of this pseudo survival kind of game, basically kind of a tree puncher. And I play a ton of survival games. Other than ARPGs, that is my main genre. In fact, I have the second most hours next to POE in Conan Exiles, the mod servers. For that, I have over 3,000 hours in that. Played V Rising, 7 Days to Die, just a ton of different survival games, so I am super excited. Now it also has kind of a MOBA game and not a MOBA game, where they have real-time timers, but when everyone compares it to mobile games, I'd say the most recent game that implemented something where you can send people off to do things, and they bring stuff back that I have played, was V Rising. That is probably the most current one that has that mechanic, and it's the same exact thing. You get stronger people, you enslave them, you are a vampire, you're kind of an asshole in that game. You could send them off to different areas. They, after a certain amount of real time, whether it be 2 hours to 24 hours, they come back with a proportional amount of loot to that. But the harder the area is, and if your guy is too weak, there is a chance that they die. So basically the exact kind of thing. So the first thing I want to talk about is that exact mechanic where you can send people off, higher risk, higher reward kind of thing, where you can get them to bring you back shipments, or you can have them run maps. They will give you the loot of the map. Now, a lot of people saw the timers and got really worried, thinking, oh god, this is just like a mobile game. A lot of people had PTSD from previous games. That was said in even my chat while I was live streaming it. But I think this is amazing. You do not have to use this mechanic. It does seem like it's going to be one of the most used things in this league mechanic. But the first thing I thought of is it took me back to my high school days. I am relatively old. High school for me was Diablo 2. And I remember I had a Pindle skin bot, and I would set it up to run all night and all day while I was at school. And just that feeling of wanting to get home or wake up and check what the bot found that night was incredibly, just incredibly exciting. It gave you a reason to want to wake up and turn the game on. I think that's very important for a game's growth, is to be able to do stuff and get excited about something that you had. Now, if the trade stuff is also offline, that'll be awesome, because you can wake up and see what sold, all your stackables and all of that. So incredibly exciting. I think this is going to be amazing, and I can't wait for it. Now, they added back recombinators, which I think is pretty awesome. I did not really get to play this league at all, or at least if I did, it was before I was a very serious player, or someone that just plays a lot more and knows more than I did back then. A lot of people are excited about this. I do get the gist of it. Combine 2 items together to get, hopefully, the best stats from both items mashed into one. Sounds really cool. A lot of people are excited. I can't wait to jump into this. But again, I didn't play the league with this, so I can't speak too much on how power creepy this is or how strong it can make you. The currency exchange that they're introducing has been a long time coming. It's going to make it so any stackable you can sell and buy automatically from people without having to message people constantly, and they usually will not answer, especially if you're near the top of the list or the competitive prices, because a lot of those people are price fixing. They are not going to sell you that at that price. They just want to get the price down for themselves, or another kind of manipulation for the market. And it's bullshit, and it's the most frustrating thing. And this is going to be an amazing change. This was probably what I got the most excited for on the live stream. I even yelled, you know, we made it, or something like that, just simply because of how much better this is. And they even mentioned about how in POE 2 they're going to try to make it completely autonomous, where you can trade most stuff just straight from player to player. I think this is basically how it already works, kind of on the console side. Don't quote me on that, but I have a couple friends that play console, and they said, no, this is kind of how they do it with console and trading. So incredibly excited for this. This is probably the best thing that they have put, and they said this is just a test, but undoubtedly they are going to get a ton of positive feedback from this, and this will be here to stay in one shape or form. Another big thing they did was a huge melee overhaul. They massively buffed a lot of melee skills. I think just about all of them got buffed. It just depends on how high or how low that they got buffed, but they pretty much all got buffed. Now, I do not play a lot of melee. Technically, my favorite build, the Cast on Crea Ice Spear build, is melee because you're using Cyclone. You have to get close. You have to get within melee range. Depending on your Cyclone's range, you can actually be standing relatively far away if the range of the AoE of the Cyclone is relatively big. But other than that, I don't really play melee. But with a lot of the patch changes, stuff for inspiration, a lot of little, jabs at spellcasters, this is probably going to be a melee heavy league. In fact, I'd say I'm 99.9% certain this is going to be mostly melee for the much stronger builds. Now, a lot of stuff did not get nerfed. Archmage did not get nerfed. Holy Relic did not get nerfed. A lot of really powerful spells and ranged builds did not get nerfed, so that is great. But some certain things took a hit, like Inspiration took a decent hit. Now it does, I think, flat mana instead of percentage mana, so that's going to hurt a lot of spellcasters. But I have to see the numbers on Inspiration. And on a side note, if it is flat mana and it's big enough, that might actually make my Cast on Crea Ice Spear build a lot easier to start and to tweak and play, which would be amazing. So I am kind of excited to see the numbers on that, but I do not think they are up yet. But anyways, yeah, there's a lot of different people out there that are much more knowledgeable than me, that are already spinning their wheels on some awesome melee builds. I probably won't be able to help people out too much on that until I play some of these, but there is plenty of resources out there you can look up that are much better and more knowledgeable about the game that can help you find out some more about some things you might want to run, especially League Start, because it sounds like a lot of League starters that are going to rise to the top are going to be some of these melee builds. So many people are excited about this, and yes, this was a long time coming. Melee sucked. That's one of the reasons I did not play Melee, so maybe I'll find, a greater love for Melee in this league with all of the buffs. The one Melee build that I played a few times that I really love is the Flicker Strike build. I think a lot of people are going to be playing Flicker Strike, me included. It is not a great league starter, but I will try and run that probably as soon as possible because Claws got buffed. You might not have to use the Paradoxica Sword, stuff like that. I won't go too in depth with it, but we'll see how it goes. But I am relatively excited for the buffs. Another huge change is they nerfed Magic Find a lot. Now you'll hear different people saying, well, maybe Rarity will be really good and blah, blah, blah. No, the big strategies, the really, really good strategies and good builds relied very, very heavily on quantity, and for good reason. It scales very well with Magic Find and just generally getting more items. That is the name of the game. With some of these strategies, it's not so much about the quality of items that drop, it's just the sheer amount of them that drop. So do I think removing quantity from uniques was a good idea? I'm not so sure. I don't really like Magic Find, but I didn't really mind the people that did. I more so hated the strategy and the way of not exploiting per se, but finding little tweaks that made these strategies so powerful. I just didn't like when they got so extreme that they ruined the economy and caused large fluctuations on certain items. I thought that was kind of frustrating. So on that end of things, I am kind of happy that it was nerfed, but I didn't mind Magic Find as much as certain people. I really did not like how Deadeye was so incredibly necessary and just playing Tornado Shot and off-screening things to be able to Magic Find. So I guess that's probably a good thing for the health of the game, that they are just, getting rid of the fact that 20% of the characters were just Fizzbow, Tornado Shot, Deadeyes, or Lightning Arrow and stuff like that. So I think this is overall a good change. It's a very extreme change, I will say that for sure, but I do think this is a good change for the health of the game. That being said, with the nerf to quantity, there are new ways of juicing. They brought the Wildwood back. That is obviously more juicing for the maps. They brought Sentinel back. That is another way of juicing for the maps. There is an extra map slot. You're going to be able to put an extra Scarab in. That is more juice for the maps. So I think magic finding in general, even without the quantity, is going to be more accessible to people that don't want to just run a Deadeye and pump all of those quantity uniques anymore. So it's not like juicing is gone. If anything, it might be stronger than ever. We will see, but in general, they added a lot of stuff and kept things to the point where I think that still getting a ton of quantity, or not quantity, a lot of pack size and things like that on your map is still going to be easy, if not easier, and the juicing will not go away. It will never die. It just gets little tweaks, changes, people come up with different strategies. Another thing that I think is cool is they are adding Maven's chisels. Now, in the video they show a Maven fight, and at the end, one or two of these chisels drop. So I have a feeling because they're the Maven's chisels, and I saw them drop from the Maven encounter, they are going to be Maven content drops only. Don't know how rare they are. I don't know how expensive they are going to be, but they are very cool. You can add rarity on your map. You can add pack size and things like that, along with the normal quality chisels. I think this is a dope idea. I think that is great. I think this is a good change. Just adding more variety to the things you could put on your maps. Ritual got some great changes. They added a new item that can make you fight the king from the Affliction League to drop some of their uniques. They added uniques like these rings into the drop pool for Ritual. They also added corpses into Ritual, and I have said it many times, Ritual is probably my favorite mechanic. It was just trash. Will this make it good? We don't know yet. It depends on how common the corpses are and things like that, how good some of these uniques are. These rings seem meh. I don't know if anyone is going to use these for the grants level skill of it. The reduced effective curses on you is pretty nice, and if you can get the ailment duration, if you can use something like a Storm Shroud to just get rid of the ailment and just knock it out in general with the the jewel or something like that, these rings might be stronger. But in general, I don't know how good the uniques are. They don't seem anything too amazing yet, but they are cool to have. Tier 17 maps have been nerfed. It said Chris said the monsters have substantially less life and do less damage. We do not have numbers on that. I do not know how much less damage. I'm hoping it's about the 25 to 50% range, maybe around, well, maybe not that extreme, 25 to 35% range. I think that would be nice. They are still probably going to be the end game best farm with certain strategies, certain juicing, depending on how often things like Wildwood appear, and things like that in the tier 16s and tier 17s. So that will be really cool. I think that was a very, very smart change. They said it's more in line with between the pinnacle bosses and the uber pinnacle bosses, so in the middle. I think that is perfect. That is where they should stay, especially if they aren't going to put the extra map slot into a different mechanic. If you are forced to complete one to get one of the map slots, I do not think it needed to be this hard. Now, the patch notes, the TLDR is massive melee buffs. War cries are different. They've removed a couple of them. The totems and the need to use totems is now gone. A ton of spells now are nerfed for the leveling process, but at level 20 they are the same, and most of the changes are things cost more mana now. Depending on how annoying that is and how much the little mana tweaks change certain builds, this could be more impactful than it looks. Or maybe some people are looking saying this is huge. A lot of stuff went from like 5 mana at all levels to up to like 10 or 12 at the final level, effectively doubling the mana cost. So that is a big nerf to certain builds, I am sure. But most of the skill changes for spells, at least, are just nerfed on the leveling process and up to 20, but are still the same at level 20. Now, they removed the Raider and replaced it with a new ascendancy called Warden. I looked at Warden and I thought, seems meh, but a lot of people do think that it is going to be a strong class. I kind of liked Raider. I do see why they removed it. I'm not too mad about that, but I did like playing Raider Flicker Strike. Probably just have to go to Slayer now, which is not a bad thing. You get some Leech, Instant Leech. Val Pact is back to being Instant Leech for melee only, but that will be strong too. So that is cool, but they did sneak a couple things that affect me personally, like the inspiration change to going from percentage mana to less mana. That is going to change the way I play my favorite build. Like I said, cast on Great Ice Spear. But other than that, they snuck in little things. Some changes, you can go through and read those, or you can watch where I read through those, although it's kind of a TLDR. The way I did it, I wasn't able to go super in-depth with things. There's a rage rework in there, but I would just go watch the video and read through them yourself, or watch someone smarter than me, more experienced at the league, to get, you know, your fill of that fill in. So my final thoughts are, I am incredibly excited. This is most likely going to be the last league before POE 2 beta starts gaining traction and comes out. So I say full send. I love all the changes. I cannot wait. And an example of how I am excited and hyped for this league is I have a bum gallbladder. This has to be removed. And when I went for surgery consultation the other week, they're like, we can get you in the last week of July. And I said, whoa, 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 whoa. If I just eat bland and not eat fat, because that's what your gallbladder does. If I eat incredibly bland and do not eat fat, can we push it to the end of August, early September? And the doctor said, yes, that should be fine. So I am so excited. I am eating nothing but pretzels, yogurt, you know, certain seafoods, bland chicken, and things like that. Just so simply, I do not have to spend 1 to 2 weeks in bed not playing this league. I would much rather eat bland as hell and just postpone the surgery so I can get in on this league. So let me know in the comments, people, how excited you are for this. I think it's been overwhelmingly positive between the patch notes and just the league reveal. But leave a comment. Let me know what you're excited for. And leave a comment. Let me know what you are going to play. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Leave a like. It helps a ton. And get followed over on twitch.tv/SafeOnTalk, where I will be streaming a lot of variety of games probably until the league release, and obviously my entire play when the league starts. And I cannot wait, and I'm glad to be back. Hopefully this video knocks some rust off so I can get back into the swing of things, start putting more videos up regularly. But thanks guys for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.